What did you see either in your own writing or the writing of other authors that you work with that made you feel like this concept of a premise was needed to help them through their work?
Yeah, sure. So the thing is that most authors, especially when we're all getting started, tend to just start writing with whatever piece of story we have, and we meander around and try to figure it out and go back and forth. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, most of us start that way when we're beginning, but it doesn't make for a very cohesive story overall. Now, of course, you have some people who are pantsers and they do this anyway to figure out what their story is. And again, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Everybody has a different process. But for me, I'm somebody who likes to streamline whatever it is you're doing and try to get it done a little bit more quickly without sacrificing quality. The idea of having a premise, and it's just basically knowing what your story is going to be about in a very broad, general way, and knowing where you're going with it. And once you know that, I feel like even though, of course, you're still going to need to edit, and as you go along, things are probably going to change, you still are going to end up with a more cohesive story because you have something to write toward and you have a framework for where to keep your story. And you can also get it done a lot more quickly because you have a roadmap to follow, even if it's a very general roadmap.
So we've heard a little bit about now about what you're thinking about a premise. So can you just give a little bit more detail about how you define the idea of a premise, what it is and what it isn't?
Yeah, sure. And the other thing is that my idea of a premise is always evolving and changing. So I would say that with anything concerning writing your story, there's going to be an internal and there's going to be an external. Most people think of a premise as the external, and it just basically means a clash of ideas, but in a good way, because any given thing, setting or characters or genre, none of those are a premise. A premise is when ideas come together.